Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to Well with Mika, where we talk real wellness for your real life. Now, last episode was part one of the series that's addressing this whole no contact situation going on social media, okay? So, this part two of the series is on doing the low contact bridge, okay? Finding that middle path between no contact and look, I ain't pretending just everything is fine. What? Something, we got a problem? No, we're not doing that, okay? Last episode, we discussed why it matters, and today we're going to get into some of the practical strategies that we can take. First, being parallel play for the grown-ups in the building, okay? Because we ain't children, well, we'll always be our parents' kids, but now we're adults dealing with adults. So let's get into it. Now, what usually happens when you try to talk about feelings with a strained parent child relationship, what happens, right? You could sit down across from each other. Emotions are already high. You didn't really do the work to calm down and like get yourself grounded and ready to have a conversation. You just dive in. It's like, oh, I know you, you know me, you know where I'm coming from, and I'm coming in hard and hot. And well, pause, but you know what I mean. We're not gonna do that. One person says something defensive, then the other person just shuts down or they blow up, right? Next thing you know, you're back in the same old pattern. You're having the same old argument that you've had a million times before. Does that sound familiar? I mean, it don't get nothing done, right? You don't accomplish much with that. And there's a reason for this because when we are face to face, especially when it comes to emotional topics, our nervous systems get activated. We're in what therapists call that high arousal mode, and your body thinks it is under threat. Even if you're just sitting at the kitchen table, your body's like, it's a problem. And then it's like, we got an issue here. Heart rate goes up. Your thinking gets all fuzzy. You say things you don't even mean, or you just shut down completely. So face to face emotional conversations, yes, they are important, but they only work when both people they feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. And I know vulnerable is not always a word that we want to hear because you're like, nah, I ain't letting nobody in like that. Okay. No, we can't. We're not going to grow. We're not going to build the relationships if we keep doing that. They're not going to be healthy. And in a strained relationship, that safety, it just often does not exist. And that's what we want. We want that safety in the relationship. So we need a different approach. Now, this is where the parallel play comes in. You know how little kids they play side by side? I don't know if you know that. Like there's a stage in childhood development where you put the kids together and they're really playing with each other, like face to face. They playing next to each other. They're in the same space. Maybe they're sharing toys, but not directly interacting. They're comfortable being near each other without the pressure of the constant eye contact and conversation. And guess what? Adults, they need that too, especially when it comes to rebuilding trust. So when you work side by side on something external, think about something like cooking, gardening, volunteering. A few things can happen. The focus it shifts from the relationship to the task. So instead of, yo, why you did that to me? Why you hurt me? It's, hey, pass me that measuring cup day. The emotional pressure, it comes off. Then two, your nervous system calms down. You're moving, you're doing something productive, you're not locked in intense eye contact. Your body, it can relax. Number three, your conversation happens naturally. So when you're chopping them veggies or you're raking up the leaves, the conversation it flows more easily. There, you have your natural pauses, and then things feel less intense. And then four, you're building something together. You become collaborators instead of adversaries. So it ain't no ops now. It's like, okay, we're doing this together. Even if it's just a meal or, like I said, a garden, you're creating something. And that starts to change the story of your relationship. And it's funny. You see the things that happen when you really sit down and introspect. This question came to me when I heard about the no contact because it hit me in such a visceral way. And then I really started to think, how could we creatively overcome these things? And then that's what got me to start digging because to me, it really, especially being someone who lives apart from their family, it doesn't feel good to be so far away all the time. And sometimes you crave that connection, but you know you got to dip in and dip out. So I'm saying there has to be another way. You don't have to completely go no contact, but there has to be another way. So that's just a little sidebar. So this isn't just. I also want to say this isn't just me making it up. Developmental psychologists, they really studied the parallel play for decades, and family therapists, they use this technique all the time. So this ain't coming from me. It's just funny that the idea of being creative in terms of, okay, can this be addressed? Can we address this in a way without just saying I'm cutting you completely off? And then digging, I got to realize, okay, there are terms for this. Okay, there's a way. So getting families to do activities together before trying to have the talks, that is a good way to bridge the gap so that you can really step into this in a healthy way. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Number one, the shared skill exchange. One person teaches the other something they know how to do. So, maybe your parent teaches you how to fix something, or maybe you teach them how to use, let's say, a new app or navigate social media, whatever it is, right? And it works because it shifts the power dynamic. The teacher feels valued, and then the student shows humility. So you're both learning to respect each other's competence. Now, I think that's a beautiful thing. I also think that's it's a practice that's kind of lost because everybody thinks they know everything, especially because of social media. So it's kind of this weird cycle. But if you know it, hopefully you could be more conscious of it. So when you step into this practice, you step into it with the right mindset. Then example number two could be cooking together. Pick a recipe that neither one of you did before, like something brand new, maybe from a completely different culture, a different part of the world, and work through it together. Read the instructions, measuring, tasting, adjusting, all of that, doing it together. Now, cooking is together is very collaborative. It's sensory, and at the end, it's satisfying. Plus, you get to eat together. Come on now, who don't love that? Which is another bonding moment. Then another example we have is volunteering for a neutral cause. So maybe it's working at a food bank, cleaning up a park, helping at an animal shelter, something that neither of you is too emotionally invested in. And what this does is it focuses your attention on helping others, not fixing your relationship in that moment. Then you see each other in doing acts of generosity, and that can really soften old narratives. You'll see that person in a different light. And then another example is just simple side by side activities, maybe going for a walk. It's less confrontational than sitting across from the person talking. Work on a puzzle, go through some pictures, organize photos, garden, like I said, washing the car together. Just little simple things that you do side by side could help. So now what's your challenge? If you are the adult child, reach out, okay? Not even maybe, reach out and suggest one low pressure activity. You could keep it simple. It ain't gotta be nothing big, okay? Want to help me cook on Sunday? I'm going to the farmer's market Saturday. You want to come? I'm organizing my garage. I could use an extra pair of hands. Can you come and help me? Okay? If you're the parent, maybe ask your child about their interests, then suggest doing that thing together. Be open and interested in them, in what they're doing, how you can learn from them. And, maybe you could say something like, hey, you mentioned, I don't know, hiking, and then want to find a trail or something, and we could do it together. Or I'd love to learn about whatever it is that you're into. Can you show it to me? Just keep it short. It ain't got to be a whole day, whole weekend thing. Make it low stakes, an hour or two. No big emotional talks, just the presence and collaboration. And then afterwards, notice, how did it feel? Was there any moment, even a small one, that felt easier, that felt different? And that's the data. That's what you want to sit with and process, and then that will lead to the progress, okay? Now, the beautiful thing about this approach is that you're not really trying to fix everything at once, because somebody's sitting down somewhere talking about, yeah, I'm doing that, but we ain't get to the root of the problem. That is going to happen over time. What you're doing right now is you're just creating the one new positive memory. You're creating the space, the foundation to continue to build on the trust, build on that better relationship. And you're just going to keep building one after the other after the other. then over time, those new memories, they're going to start to shift the narrative. So instead of every time we're together, it's like this and you do this, it becomes, remember when we did such and such, or remember when we worked on that project. Those small moments of connection, they build trust, and trust builds safety, and then safety makes deeper conversation possible. Okay? So the next episode, we're going to get into the reciprocity test and how taking turns stepping into each other's worlds, that's going to really reveal whether real repair is even possible. Okay? So remember, we're taking this in steps, and I hope and pray that this helps. Until next time, please leave a comment if you like. Talk about what you're going to work on, if you're going to use this approach. If there's someone in your life that needs to hear this, send it, share it. As always, happy healthing. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.